Hi, Algebra 1. Today we're going to talk about binomials. And if we break this word down, it goes bi, which means two, and nomial, which means terms. And so these are expressions with two terms. And so an example of that would be x plus 1, or 3x minus 7, or 3x squared minus 7, or a million different things. There's so many, but it has one operator that is addition or subtraction and two terms. Usually one of them has a variable. Both of them can have a variable. You could have like x squared plus 7x or something like that. But we're going to go very simple today, and then next week we'll launch into further. So these are examples of binomials, and today what we're going to do is we are going to multiply binomials. And this goes back to an extension of the distributive property. So there are two different ways that I talk about multiplying binomials. We can use the FOIL method, good Lord, which stands for first, outer, inner, last. And so how people do this is they multiply the two first terms, a times c, and then the outer, so the first and last, they're on the outermost parts of this. So we would add AD, and then the inner, the two that are in the middle, plus BC, and then the last, so the last term in each set of parentheses there, plus BD. Now, obviously, these are going to actually have values assigned to them. And yeah, so this is the FOIL or double distributive method. And that's pretty much that. We'll show it with some real numbers here in just a second. The Punnett square, if you remember, the Punnett square is actually used in biology to determine the probability of having offspring with a particular genetic trait, whether it be a dominant trait or a non-dominant trait. However, when we start talking about factoring, which is undoing the multiplication, I use the X box method, and this box really comes in handy if you think about multiplication and undoing multiplication like this. So it is valuable to understand both processes here. So here we would multiply A and C, which is AC, and here we would multiply A and D, which is AD, and this is positive, right? So it's all good. And this over here is a positive B times a C, so BC, and last one, positive B, positive D is BD. And so then we would just add up all of these terms. So that's pretty much the idea. Now let's do some actual examples, and I will show you one in each method here. So let me get my board up. Okay, here we go. So we've got this one. We'll start with the FOIL method because that's the one that people typically and traditionally know. If you Google or YouTube FOIL method, you'll see a bajillion resources and videos. So first is first. X times x means x squared. And then x times negative 3, that negative belongs to the 3, is negative 3x. Positive 1 times x is plus x, or plus 1x if you like that. And then positive 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. So when we combine these, and when we're doing this, the two middle terms will usually combine. I'm going to say usually because I don't want to say always, because if I say always, I'm going to prove myself wrong. But today, they will always combine the two middle terms. So x squared, and negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. See how we can combine those because they have like terms. Negative 2x, and then minus 3. You cannot combine x squareds and x's because you just can't. You can't add the length of something to the area of something. It doesn't work. Okay, so that's that example. And that's pretty much all there is to it. This is now what we call a quadratic, and we'll talk about those and why we call them that a little bit later. But yeah, that's it for this one. Last one. All right, so this one, this has a coefficient on it. Oh no, it happens, not a big deal. let's use the Punnett square model here. And so 3x minus 7. So you just break them apart, the terms on each one of those there. And then x plus 6. So 3x times x is going to be 3x squared. 3x times positive 6 is going to be 18x. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. And negative 7 times positive 6 is negative 42. Now this is the cool thing about the Punnett square method, is that you know that all you have to do is combine on the diagonal, because there's only one squared, only one constant, I guess. So our final answer would be 3x squared, 18 minus 7. And that's the other really cool thing, is that if this one were positive and this one were negative, we could go, 7 minus 18. And we can think about it that way without having to have the strict order that the FOIL method kind of leaves us with. So there's fluidity here. Anyway, 18 minus 7 is positive 11x, and then minus 42. And that's really it. Just leaving your answer just like that, because there's nothing else that we know to do with it yet. That's pretty much all I got. If you need to see more examples, like I said, you can either Google FOIL method or multiplying binomials, or of course you can reach out to me, because I would love to hear from you. That is everything from me today. Please do the 10 problems and submit that page by noon on Friday, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye-bye.